Can you see everything? Is it anything blocked or?
We can see everything.
Because I have a view here. Because I can see it, but I don't see like where you guys are, like your pictures. Anyway, it's not blocking anything, right? Right. A minute. All right, so all right. I think I should call it a responsibility center. So the responsibility center is the unit or department in the organization that incurs costs and for which a manager is assigned responsibilities. So give me some examples of that you can imagine. Oh, I
Like
can't.
an example where we're currently employed, or like,
Yeah, like what would be okay, so you have a manager. What is your manager responsible for?
Supplies,
But what is that? What is the manager a manager of? What is the facility?
Running of a place.
like healthcare,
Cost containment.
Yeah, are you in a
Profit
hospital?
making.
Are you in a,
Oh,
are you in a
okay, okay.
ward? Are you on a, what are you on? What is it? What is
Okay.
the unit? What is the center?
I work in a clinic, a cardiovascular clinic.
So you have a manager of the clinic, a clinic manager. Rhoda, what about you?
Primary care clinic, adults.
Okay.
Primary care.
So a manager could be the manager of an entire department, right? So radiology could be a manager of radiology. Okay. And so there's different kinds of costs for different units in different periods of time, right? You have to think about the service unit. You have to think about, oh, and there's different kinds of costs too, right? There's fixed costs, variable costs, relevant range. So we'll talk about these things. We'll talk about the different types of costs. And we have to think about within which time period. So if someone was to say, what's the average cost? You'd have to say, well, when, over what period? Over a week, a month, a year. So there's a relevant time or period to estimate costs. And that's really important as well. Okay, so what's a service unit? The service unit is the basic measure of the product or service being produced, such as discharge patients, patient days, home care visits, emergency room treatments, or hours of operations. Managers must know the cost per service unit as it pertains to their area of responsibility. So, in your projects, you're monitoring something. That would be your service unit, right? So are you guys more clear on what your service unit is this week than you were last week? Or are you clear on your service unit?
That's like when you discussed like the rate, the hourly rate. This, like, for I think you gave an example of like the hourly rate it costs to staff
Well,
a nurse.
when each of you guys, each of you were talking about your projects, and I
Mhm.
was trying to get you to pin down what you're going to observe as your outcome, what you're trying to measure as your outcome. That's part of it, right? Because you're trying to identify, okay, are there less patients, or less days in hospital, less time, or sorry, more time to readmission, or less readmissions, or so you got to identify, what you want to be focused on. Okay, so maybe an operating room uses hours of surgery. Maybe in a hospital use patient days. So these are measures to assess costs. Like you can get the cost of those things, the cost of a patient day, the cost of an hour of surgical time, a cost of, so it's just a way to capture costs on through service delivery. So the manager must know the cost per service unit as it pertains to their area of responsibility or the variety of service units. Okay, so okay, there's two kinds of costs, broadly speaking. There's direct costs and indirect costs. What does that mean to you? You guys can read what I wrote there, but what does it mean to you? Or have you heard that before? Or does it make sense or not make sense? We talked about it last time.
I'll say direct costs are costs that a manager is in charge of that. She made those expenses herself.
So they're incurred delivering care, right? Direct care.
Indirect maybe it could be waste, that like maybe the staff they're wasting supplies, like they're unnecessarily using supplies. Those would be like the indirect costs.
Yeah, that's interesting what you're saying. Okay, well, first let's talk about the most immediate. Indirect costs are actually costs incurred that are, okay, they're assigned, but they're from elsewhere. We talked about electricity. So maybe the unit might have to pay or have to be responsible for some cost for like turning the lights on. That's their indirect cost, right? It's not like it's directly managed by the unit, but that's part of the overhead. That's indirect cost of running the facility. If it's not directly involved in treating patients. So now what you're saying is interesting. What would that be? That would be, so waste. I think
I was
waste of
thinking
supplies
waste
would be direct
waste are still
costs.
direct expenses.
Yeah, that would
It's
still be direct. Yeah. Yeah. But the point is that they didn't
but
get
it's
it. So
not-
Patty's thinking they didn't get it. So it's a waste. So it's
They're not
indirect.
using it for patient care. Like sometimes they'll use like their chucks, like those pads. Sometimes they use it to put it on like the table before they put their bag down, because they don't want their bag to directly touch the table. Like it's
Right.
not being used for patient care.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. So I just don't think I mean, if you were to capture that kind of waste, it would still be impacting your manager and your unit, and you have control on it. Indirect is more like you don't have really control on it unless your manager is able to, to help reduce those external costs somehow. So it still would be considered direct because they can do something about that, or they can try anyway. It's still they're responsible for that that waste even. Does that make sense? Patty? Yeah, kind of. So indirect is more, let me move this. So yeah, laundry and like it's not, laundry is not being dealt with in that unit, like it's all being sent somewhere else and they're taking care of laundering sheets, blankets and things. Cleaning, housekeeping, that could be direct, it might be indirect. It might be indirect. For a larger facility. Windows, cleaning windows, you know, that a large building or facility has windows cleaned, that's indirect. So you'll be responsible for some portion of that, but not deciding on those costs or in the short term. Okay, so I hope that's clear to distinguish. Sorry. Okay, then there's then we put those together, direct and indirect create full costs. So they're the total of all costs associated with or in an organizational unit or activity includes direct and indirect costs. So we got direct, indirect, and full costs. Okay, so now we're going to get into some other types of costs. Average cost. So what's the average cost? The full cost divided by the volume of service units. If it's patients, or if it's surgical hours, or if it's yeah. So this is going to help to contribute to the calculation of average cost per patient or treatment or per patient day. So if you're going by, so I'm going to show you here in this example. So this example is in the book. So we have here are the different costs, right? So for one patient, there's a fixed cost of $400,000. And then there's the variable cost per patient of $400 for a total cost of $400,400. Everyone's okay with that so far? So that's the fixed cost, and notice the fixed cost is fixed. It's always the same. It doesn't matter how many patients are serviced. It's a fixed cost. So this could be the building, the asset, right? Or the clinic, or it could be an office in a building that's been purchased. Okay.
So it could be like maybe the patient's room is a fixed cost, no matter what you're in there for, that's how much it costs.
Not the patient room, but
patient
like the
given to
office or the hospital or the service where the service is being done. So this is the fixed cost. It's been estimated. It doesn't change. If you have more patients, it still doesn't change. I mean, until you need to get a second office space, right? You're just going to be stuck with the 400,000. Obviously, you don't want to service one patient, because with $400 a patient, your total cost is this, and your average cost is $400,400. So that's per patient. Now, what happens as you get more patients, what's going to happen is that they're going to share the fixed cost. The variable cost will always go up, because with one patient, if you go from one patient to 50 times $400 a patient is $20,000. So then you add these together, it's $420,000. Can you guys see my cursor? Let me move it. Oh, you can see it? Okay. $440,000. And then that's going to be $420,000 divided by 50, it's much less. So the idea of spreading out the cost, the fixed cost across many patients is what you want to do. That's why everyone cares about volume, right? So you're going to spread it out until a point. Obviously, there's a capacity you can't exceed. You're going to have to buy a whole new or have to establish a whole new space for the additional patients. And we'll talk about that too. So the cost declines as volume of patient days increases because more patients are sharing the fixed cost. So we made some assumptions that the variable cost doesn't change, which is basically why you call it a variable. I mean, it changes, but not per unit. It changes, the total of the variable cost changes, but per unit stays the same. Now, if you have a lot more patients than 3,000, you might not have enough staff. So you're going to have to get more staff. You might need a new space. So the fixed cost will go up. The fixed cost will go up. And that's going to have, this is going to have a change throughout. But we'll look at that in a second. Hi, Romy.
Sorry, I was late. I hit a lot of traffic today. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We're recording. Okay, so let me go back to what I was saying. Did you want to say something? Oh, my hand is up. Where's my hand? My hand is up. Put my hand down. If I go like this, it puts my hand up. Well, I don't know why that happened. Okay, so okay, so I'm just going to pull back because I wanted to show you that. That's where we're headed here. So the average cost dividing is taken and divided by the volume of service units. And this will tell you the average cost per patient or treatment or patient day, whatever it is that is your priority. So fixed costs do not change in total as the volume of service units change. For instance, the manager's salary is fixed. So a manager doesn't get paid for more patients, right? Now, like I said, if it becomes unmanageable and you need an additional manager in another office, then everything duplicates in fixed costs. But until that happens, the fixed cost is going to include the manager's salary. And also, not just the managers, like the nursing staff, the salaried physicians, surgeons, whatever your human services are, human resources are. So the variable costs are costs that vary directly with changes in the volume of service units. So if a doctor is salaried, that doesn't change, but that could change if the doctor charges fee for service, right? If he's billing as fee for service, then that's going to go up for each service unit. Is that making sense? So that's why I gave you that assignment for the presentations to think those things through. The way that you pay doctors, that's one of the largest costs in your budget is staff. It's really important to understand the different ways of paying and how it affects your budget. Okay, so it's really important to establish a relevant range. So it's the normal range of expected activity for the cost center or organization. And fixed costs are only fixed over the relevant range. So fixed costs kind of define the relevant range. Let me show you let's talk about some of these graphs. I don't know if the graphs are helpful or more confusing, but let's talk about. All right, let me show you this. Okay, so here we have total costs, and our relevant range is the year, annual number of patient days. And so the more patient days, the greater the cost. And it's just a straight line because it's the same number for for each patient. So it ends up being like a straight line. The slope of that line is just going to be the cost per patient day. So this is just the variable cost. How will it look if I add in the fixed costs? What will happen? At every single point, I have to add the 500,000 or the 400,000. At every single place, this has to shift up the fixed cost. So it goes up just exactly if it's 500 or 400. There it is here. Okay, so this has the total cost. The variable, which makes the line with the slope, and then the fixed cost. In this example, it was $100,000 fixed cost. Now, this is just showing, okay, any questions about this? If you don't like the graphs, don't worry about it too much, but you shouldn't be hindered by the graphs. They're trying to help you understand with the graphs, but if it's confusing, but basically, yeah, so they put some numbers here, right? 10,000 patient days times the variable cost of, how much was it? So that it's $1,000 for 10,000. So how much is that? $1,000 for 10,000 patients. Patient days.
Isn't it $10,000? I mean, sorry.
So the total cost is 1,000 for 10,000 patient days. I wonder if this is in millions of dollars, but okay. Let me go back. This is figure 8.3 and explains that. Okay. Okay, so if you take it's 10,000 with a total cost of 1,000. If there's just variable cost, you just have to take the 1,000 divided by 10,000, and what do you get? Right, so total 1,000, 10,000 patient days. And this is relevant. This is the cost for a disposable supply item. This is for something very cheap. So how much is it, Patty? I see you calculating.
It's like a penny.
No, not a penny, 10 cents. Right? 1,000.
Sorry, yes,
divided-
sorry, 10 cents.
Yes,
Sorry, yes,
10
10
cents. Yeah, you forgot about the zero. Okay, so yes, it's 10 cents for each. So because this is a thermometer. I think this is the example of testing or doing temperature. And this is disposing the cap, right, for taking temperature. And if they do it, if they have 10,000 patients, they estimate it's going to be $1,000 because that's 10 cents per patient. That's the example here. Okay, so that's how these numbers relate. And let's say it's not, you're just not taking the temperature, you have to include the fixed costs. And so this goes up. The fixed costs are 100,000. And then you have the extra 1,000 from the variable costs. So the whole thing just shifts up to, so that for every amount of patients, 10,000 or 50,000, you have to pay that fixed cost of 100,000.
Why did it just increase?
Because we're gonna do total cost now, not just variable cost. So we had to add 100,000 across. So it's the period, so the relevant range
Oh, the one comes up.
is whatever, you know, whatever you're putting whatever you're budgeting for, you're considering the time period of your budget. So you're budgeting. So this is just looking specifically at that the impact of those thermometers, those thermometer caps. Okay, so here's an example taking so the total cost is on this axis, annual patient days here, and this could be confusing, but okay, I'll just go back here. So remember we were talking about this here. Let me go back to my graph. Not my graph, but my chart. Hi, Barbara. I just saw you. So going back to my chart. I was saying that, okay, you have more patients here. And the total cost divided by the total number of patients goes down from 400,000 for the first one to 533. And although you want to add more, you're going to you'll be using all your resources. You need an extra, you need more space, you need more staff. And to do that, you're going to have to double your costs. So you're going to go up to 800,000. And then you're going to have to, fit your other patients in there or some of these patients in there. So the point is that you're going to see a shift in your fixed costs. It's just going to go up. So it'll go from 400,000 up to 800,000. And that's what that graph with the steps is trying to describe, that you would have to, at some point of patients, your fixed cost doubles. Depends what you do. So that might happen. Okay, so that's what that step chart was for. Okay, back to my definitions. So fixed costs that do not change in total as the volume of service units change. Manager salary, the nursing staff salary, fixed because it's not dependent on service units. Variable costs that vary directly with changes in the volume of service units. The relevant range is the normal range of expected activity for the cost center or organization. fixed costs are fixed only over the relevant range. Okay, so I've said all that so far. What are marginal costs? And how is it different from the other costs we talked about? You've heard that word marginal before? No. Economics is based on the margin. We think about what would be the extra cost incurred if we had one more service unit. It's not the same as the average. It's not the same as the average. They could be the same, but it's not by and large the same as the average. And I'll demonstrate. Okay, let's talk again about here. If we're here and we're at capacity and we have 3,000 units, adding one more patient will, like I said, will force us to double our fixed costs because we need a new space, we need more staff. So that extra patient after 3,000 is going to be a huge cost. You agree? That's different than saying over here that every patient is 533. That's the average, but that's not the margin. The margin is adding one more, what's going to happen to the costs? In that case, in that example that I gave, it's going to increase fixed costs. Did you have a question, Patty? Oh,
I have a question now.
I was just saying it was gonna go up.
yeah. Okay. Romy. Oh, sorry. Someone said Barbara.
Yeah, no, I'm saying why is it after 3,000 now the fixed cost goes up, but like why 3,000?
I don't know. Did you see me describing this thing? I'm just inventing that, but basically I'm saying,
Oh,
so
okay,
this is the budget, or not the budget, but this lays out the costs for our unit, getting more patients and spreading out the fixed costs, because this is per patient, but then this, if we have more patients, they all share the cost. So the average cost goes down. So this goes down.
so this is already set that the fixed cost is for a volume up to 3,000.
Okay, so the fixed cost is going to be fixed up until 3,000. Yeah, and then
Right, okay.
let's imagine that after 3,000, we cannot provide quality services anymore. We have to expand.
Okay.
And then that case, that 3,001 person or patient will force us to consider duplicating our services. And it's going to be that first patient is going to be a huge marginal cost until we get a larger volume and they spread it out just like they did in this clinic or this facility. Okay, so marginal cost is different from average cost is the point I'm making. In general, they're different. They can coincide, but in general, they're different. All right, back to my terminology. So again, marginal cost, extra costs incurred as a result of providing one more service unit. It includes both variable and fixed costs that change from adding an extra patient or group of patients. Often used to analyze major changes like adding a new service. Okay. Then there are mixed costs. There are some items that has fixed costs, and then part of it can be variable. So let's see, the fixed costs of electricity are that you have all the hallway lights on, you have all the, a bunch of equipment on, but in times that, you have higher volumes of patients, you're going to turn on lights or keep them on for longer than, you anticipate. And it's going to be related to variable cost. So there's can be a fixed and a variable component. So there's just basically leaving the general lights on, and then there's by utilization, the power that you use is going to depend on how many patients are served. So, okay, then the stepping or this is step variable cost. This is the, okay, so let me show you that now in the text. Where is it? I didn't put all the graphs on here because it would just make this too big. Okay, so this is the stepping that's happening. And this is just like I described, this shift for one facility, but if you're going to duplicate facilities after a certain volume of patients, then this fixed cost goes up double. So now it's double that it was. And then you'd still, you know, you could still have your variable costs, but this stepping is what it's referring to. Many costs are step fixed and vary within the relevant range, but not smoothly. They are fixed over intervals shorter than the relevant range. So let's say 3,000 patient days was the capacity, and then you have to double. And again, now 6,000, you're going to have to add another unit. So yeah, our facility. So all this makes more sense in application. So I'm just going through the definitions for now with some simple examples. The concepts of fixed and variable costs are often conceptualized with the use of graphs. The fixed costs appear as a horizontal line, that's the flat, like the step. And the variable costs fluctuate with the volume of services, so it's the upsloping line. And most include the cost of supplies. The relevant range is the likely range of activity covered by a budget. Variable costs increase proportionally over the relevant range. Variable costs do not increase by exactly the same amount per unit over any range of volume or activity. So what they're trying to say here is that the variable cost, so the more patients you have, the larger the variable cost, but the actual number, so if it's 10 cents a unit, or if it's $1,000 a patient day, that number doesn't change. But obviously the total changes the more services you provide.
But it changes when you're increasing the variable cost, the fixed
Yeah, you
cost.
could, yeah, if you have to change your variable costs, if you have to train your staff, or they have to get certification, or they have to get something extra and you have to pay them more for that, your variable cost just changed. Right? But in general, the idea of it being variable is that it's per unit, not like fixed. It doesn't matter how many units, it stays the same until maybe you have to make some major changes, but otherwise fixed stays the same. So I'm just talking about how, you know, the word variable doesn't refer to the fact that it's volatile and changing all the time. It's like a number that you calculate and you use it for the patient days. Okay, fixed costs do not remain fixed over any range of volume or activity. Yeah, so fixed costs basically are the same, are fixed over that relevant range, not all ranges or any range. Okay, so then I gave this example. Any questions about this? This is pretty straightforward, but it's important to see it. Until you see it, doesn't make too much sense. So this is always the same. This is just 400 times 1 is 400. 400 times 5 is 20,000. 400 times 100, so that's all those numbers. And then we just added the two columns, and then we divided to get the average cost. Okay. All right. So costs are not unique numbers, and they are not always the same. The greater the number of patients who share fixed costs, the lower average cost per patient. We already talked about that. This is important because fixed costs do not change in total. The cost per patient or per patient day does change as volume changes. This is just describing what you see in that chart. The greater the volume, the greater the number of patients to share fixed costs. So organizations in general prefer higher over lower volumes. So in terms of marginal costs, decisions should be made based on the marginal cost of a change, not on the average cost. So if we think back to our example of the 3,000 patients and the 3,001 patient, we realize if we're going to create a whole facility just for that one patient, we probably, we probably can't do it right away. It's going to be very expensive. We'll have to wait, right, until we have enough capacity to fill that additional center. So that marginal cost will dictate what we do. It's going to be huge. We're going to have to get another $400,000 of fixed costs and whatever it takes to put those in place. The recruiting, and then you got to buy all the equipment and the furniture. Anyway, so marginal cost of one additional patient will make you sit on that decision for a while because that's really expensive. Okay. So costs do not change in total, are not relevant to this. It's sometimes called relevant costing. All decisions should be made based on those costs that are relevant to the decision. Consider costs before and after a change. Okay, so here this is a budget that was put together to consider adding, oh, what did they add? Hold on, this was from the text too, let me remember. This was to, okay, the hospital is going to decide whether they will perform liver transplant surgery. So they come up with this projections, and then they give it to the nurse manager, and she brings it to her staff, and they review this assessment to determine if this is an accurate, projection. So they're going to add a nurse program supervisor, that's the salary, operating room nurses, so 2 or 3, depending how much you're paying them, a technician, orderlies, operating room, secretary and receptionist, any benefits, medical supplies, allocation of building depreciation. Remember we talked about depreciation, allocation of operating room equipment depreciation, telephone allocation, office supplies, allocation of malpractice insurance and overhead not included, medical director fees, nursing staff orientation, training costs, computer and software, and some fees. All right, so they come up with this amount, and now looking at this, if you couldn't identify anything that shouldn't be here, I mean, you'd obviously have to know more about the situation or the case, but what would you investigate to either take off, or which one would you question included here? What are the relevant costs? What's not relevant?
What about the medical director fees? I don't know.
Yeah, so, right, so would you
The
really need a
centers
new
of-
medical director for this, just for this program or this service? You know, that's, yeah, like you'd have to look into that. Is that really necessary? So you could, you'd have to consult to see if that is adding extra expectations or outside the contract and negotiate the extra fee or not. What about,
the centers of excellence and others. I don't know what that is.
I don't even know what that is. Yeah, that was just added.
I may just argue for the medical director fees. It may be necessary because the volume is going to be increasing.
Mhm.
And one person may not be able to manage the same way that one person was able to manage the initial volume. Maybe at the beginning, we won't need it. But
Mhm.
when you have more people, then they would need a medical director fees.
Mhm. What do you think about the orderlies?
At the beginning, I don't think it's important. Not until they build the volume that they want.
Okay. So anyway, it's just, this is just to look at it, you know, start to question if it's really relevant. And yeah, also you want to be careful that you have services in place that, you know, you don't turn people away just because you don't have
Someone to handle.
enough to take the capacity. Yeah. Enough to handle the capacity. What do they mention here? Yeah, so that, just like you said, by adding more patients, more nursing staff will be needed. The same is true of the technician. It's not clear that the secretary and orderly are relevant costs. So that just has to be determined, right? You'd have to look at that. Is that really necessary? So, okay. All right. Okay, so now we're going to get into some calculations, cost estimation techniques. Costs are difficult to predict. You can use last year's costs and then some idea of, what would you call it? Inflation, right? About how prices are changing. So you guys know about inflation, I guess. So it is apparent that prices go up over time, and economists busy themselves with why that happens. In our case, currently, we're suffering from inflation because of all the increase in the money supply during COVID, that the government was handing out money to everybody. You have a lot of money chasing after goods that aren't there. And this is resulting in increasing prices because increased demand. So, so we need to talk about inflation a little bit, okay? And then we're going to talk about predictions. Have you guys ever worked with inflation before? No. Okay, so changes in cost over time can result from changes in volume or other changes. Inflation also affects costs. Improved technology can increase costs. So you need to think about these things. To make the numbers reasonable for comparison purposes from year to year, they must be restated in what's called constant dollars. So if you've ever heard somebody say, oh, well, that was $1 million in 1930, so today it would be $10 million, or right? So that's what we're talking about. And constant dollars would put to be able to compare dollars from 2000 to dollars in 2013, they have to be related in the same base period. And we did talk about this in time value of money as well, right? We talked about the effect of money over time, money in the future, and the value of money in the future. Anyway, but this is more about putting all the values in constant dollars. So usually you like to do that in the present day dollars. because you know what that means, just like we did with the finance material, we were covering it. So, okay, so let's talk about how we adjust for inflation. The consumer price index, have you ever heard of that? So some economists have I guess that is the Department of Labor. Anyway, there's some economists in some bureau in the federal government who creates a basket of goods. So they'll say there's got to be bread and eggs, and there's got to be certain things in there. So either they're going to go by groceries, or they're going to go by expenses, right? And they're going to monitor those expenses over time. They're going to watch how that bundle of goods changes over time. And from there, they estimate the price changes overall. And that's called the consumer price index that they're monitoring. Oh, it says here. So within the statistical abstract, okay, so in terms of medical care prices, you can use the statistical abstract of the United States. Indices of medical care prices. Can you guys find that? Indices of medical care prices. Can you guys look for it? Search for it. Indices of medical care prices. Let me see. Or indexes, they say, but I say indices. Indexes of medical care prices.
It says it's a use because it's medical care is at a current level of $549.93. I'm assuming it's in dollars. Up from
Or is it an index?
$548.
Can you show me your page, Patty? Show me your page where you're looking.
Oh, I did it on my phone.
Oh, okay. Send the link or something.
Okay, 1 second.
Can I read what I saw?
Sure.
It says medical care price index is a measure of average changes in prices of goods and services purchased by urban households. That's what I saw here.
Right. So it's one of the 8 major groups in the consumer price index, medical care index. And they have physicians index. Oh, here's a list. Here's a list.
I put it in the link in the chat
Okay.
in the
Oh, you got something. Consumer price medical index. Okay. Value. All right. So let me share that. So this is what Patty found. And it shows you here different years. So right now, this was the last time they reported. And the index, it's not dollars, it's an index. And I'll show you how to use it, but it's 549.93. Last year, 2 years before that, it was 524.60. So it went up. The index went up. So yeah, it has them all here. So you can use these to take past dollars and add inflation to them so that they could be comparable to these, today's dollars. That would be like today. That's the latest measure that they made. So let me see. This is the one I was looking at. I don't know. Maybe this is not. No, it's better what Patty got there. Okay, so those are the numbers. All right. So in this chapter, we're going to actually make some calculations. So let me share that with you. I like that. Okay, can you guys take Patty's link? Just save that, or maybe I'll take it and I'll put it in the notes. It's pretty good. I'll add it to my set of notes. Okay, so for instance, here we have, let me make this bigger. Something equivalent to what Patty was looking at. Okay, so these are the indices, 2014, 2015, 16, 17, 18. So if I can put these on the same page. All right, what we want to be able to do is put all these costs in current dollars. So in this example, the textbook was edited in 2018. So we're gonna convert all these dollars to $2018 because otherwise the increase, you don't know if that's due to inflation or to some change other than inflation. That's really what you want to be able to compare here. And the way that you do it, okay, do you guys get that what our goal is? So we want to put all these numbers in 2018 dollars so we can compare them. We want to remove the effect of inflation because there's other things that could have happened to change the costs, and we want to isolate that that something else happened. So what we have to do is, it's all about trying to put this on a page. Okay. So this is the calculation you have to make. You want to put it in 2018 dollars. So you have to use the index from 2018. In other words, you're going to convert it to 2018 with the 395 index that came from the table. But you have to divide it by the 2014 index. And this scales it up because this number will be bigger than 1, right? And it'll put it into 2018 dollars, constant dollars. So let me show you where these numbers came from again. Let me take a screenshot. So this table, these are the costs that you have, historical costs, and the patient days. And these numbers are the indices like those that Patty pointed out. And this is particularly for labor costs. Nursing labor. So this is nursing labor costs. So it was 720,000 in 2014. But what is that really in our dollars today if you put inflation back or you account for inflation? So you got to take this number because you want to convert it to 2018. You have to remove the 2014 figure by dividing it, and that will convert it into 2018 dollars. Can you guys do that without me? That will create this chart. And now we look at these numbers, and what do you say about these numbers here?
As the patient days increase over the years, so does the adjustable cost. Right? So it's direct with each other because as one decreases, the other one increases. It decreases as well. because in 2000 and wait though, but 2015 and
It
2000
went down.
it went down.
Yeah.
Why?
Exactly. So that's basically what I want to show you. So now that they
Yeah.
are, we can compare them. We can go, oh, what happened here? We can investigate and go, wait, that's weird because this went up, so it should go up. But something happened in here that they actually reduced the cost. So it's worth finding out what they did. How did they explain it?
Maybe there was some increase in the fixed cost. I don't know.
Well, here she just said it was going up because it went up. If you do this by patient, what do you get? If you make another column, what would you get? Let's see, I'll do that on my iPad.
Another column
Because it's
for
hard
what?
to compare still. Make a column, adjusted cost per patient.
Okay, I could try.
Yeah. So I'll put it down here as well. I'm gonna put it on my iPad.
In the first column would have 137.79, the 2014 one. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put it here. So what did you get? So you took 1,102,326 and divided by 8,000, right? And what did you get?
1,000. I had 137.79.
$137.79.
Yes.
Okay. And then the next one.
Working on it.
So I'm just gonna put the table together like you should put it. And you say 2,000,
127.99.
okay.
One to 1.11, I'll say.
Mm-hmm.
One 2.52.
Mm-hmm. This is the best way to compare them.
108.
And,
Just 108.
oh, okay. All right, so let me show you. So everyone follow what we did, right? So now I did it per patient because the total costs look like this one fell. It's better to look at it per patient.
So it didn't fall. It's all like it's going down.
Exactly. It didn't fall. Oh, wait, you're not going to see that. So it looks like the better way to present this is per patient. Make more sense? So we adjusted into $2018 and showed that we actually were able to reduce cost over, we can say that the cost went down per patient over time. Maybe we got better, right? At delivering service, more efficient, less waste, whatever we were doing, we got the cost down. That's the way you present the data. So we did this extra column. Well, we did this column. This was given, but we had to do the inflation adjustment. And in general, the adjustment is index. So you use the index in the for the year you want. I'm going to just put this in English language, divided by index in the year you don't want. So you want 2018, it goes on the top, so you convert it to 2018, but you have to remove or divide by the 2014 figure. This changes year by year. Okay, any questions about that? So that's pretty good. So you can also use this to predict the next year. So this was, let's do that. Oh, we don't have the data though. So how are we going to do that? We have to come up with a measure of inflation. So if this was 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. How would we estimate 2019? What are some ideas how you would estimate 2019? First of all, you have to estimate the patient days. You'd have to estimate the cost. So there's different ways you can do this, okay? Well, what do you think? What like you can be creative here. What do you think? What would you like to do? So this is the thing about statistics. Yeah, there is an answer, but you get to decide how you want to do things sometimes. So there's not always one answer.
I was just going to estimate the per patient price as 100.
So you're just going to make up a number?
Yeah.
But you should base it on the data, right? You should base it on what you have, right? So how can we base it on? We could use an average, right? We could say, well, the cost could be the average of these in the next year. And then you could estimate from here, okay, it looks like it's increasing. Maybe it's going to increase at the same rate to get this one. So you have to think, so let's just be creative. Okay, how would you do this one?
Okay, 12,000.
So you just picked a number? Is that
Well,
but base it on the historical data. Base it on the historical data.
Basing on that 2014 to 15, there was a 700 increase. The
Right.
next year there was only 150. The next year there was 1,000. So I want to think it's getting better. So another 1,000.
Okay, so you're just gonna just throw it out like that. Okay.
So this was 1,000 here, and this was 1,000 too.
What if you did you took the increases and you did the average increase? You put the average increase here, but the increase is increasing, right? That's the other thing. We learned about, oh, I don't know. I don't want to throw you guys off, but anyway. Okay, so let's just leave it like that right now. So you need to think about how I get the number of patients and then the cost. How would you estimate the cost? So, okay, so I'm just trying to motivate what I'm going to do next with you. Okay, so this is the dilemma. How do I use the historical data to predict the future? In this case, 2019 from the previous 5 years. And also, are the previous 5 years even relevant? It's another issue. So, let me show you. I'll leave it open like that for a second. I mean, I'll leave the question with you and let's go to
9 over 4.
This brings us to, if you've heard of it before, regression analysis.
Right.
So bear with me here about regression. This is the technique you're going to use for exactly that sort of problem. All right, so you understand the problem, you understand the significance of this. Do I just double what I saw before? How do I use, in a systematic way, how do I use this data from the past? And the way that we do this is known as regression. Have you ever heard that before? Regression? No?
Going back?
Yeah, going back, yeah, looking back, yeah, we're gonna use data from the past. And all right. So without
Okay.
moving the slide, I'm gonna show you some data. Oh no, there's no data on here, so I gotta give you an example. So let's use the data that we have, okay? I'm gonna put this into Excel, and I'll share the Excel spreadsheet with you guys later. Let me put them in Excel. I'm not ready. You guys can put it in Excel while I put it in Excel. How about that? I will show you my Excel while I'm doing it so you can follow.
We took the values of.
You can see my Excel book, right? So I'm gonna put okay, I don't have 2019, but I'm gonna have the 5 years. And patient days are 8,000. 8,700. 8,850, 9,800, and 11,000. Let me know if I made any mistakes. And then the adjusted cost, we've already done the calculation, so adjusted cost in $2,018. Now you could do this per patient, or you could do it like just with the total cost. Let me see how they did the graph. Yeah, they did total cost. So 1,102,326. 1,113,570. Are you doing it? 1,071,810. 1,102,681. 1,188,00. All right. I can make those dollars. Get rid of those decimals. Oh, this is not dollars. This is patient days. All right. Are you ready for the graph? Anyone ready? No ready? Okay, so I'm going to highlight all of this with those headings. And I'm going to make a scatter plot. It's called a scatter plot of the data. So I say insert chart, and I pick scatter. Insert chart, scatter. My hand went up again. And you can adjust this graph. If you double click on it, it's adjust this cost, but you wanted to say patient days here. So how are we going to do that? Oh, well, the other way to do this. Anyway, let's just stick with this way for now. Okay, who got it?
Sorry, can you tell me how you did I did insert, but I'm not getting, I don't know what you did again. I did all of that.
Insert chart, and you don't get this picture?
When I click on insert, I'm not sure where to go again.
Insert chart, scatter. So it's insert chart and then go
Oh,
down
okay,
to
I hear where you
scatter.
say that now. Thank you. Yeah, I have it. Thank you.
Now let's see.
But my last point is on, yours is to the right, mine is to the left. Why is that? And it's
Okay,
exactly like yours, except for the one that is at the last, the 2018 point.
I could have written it wrong. What did you write? 1188000?
Yes.
102,681.
Yeah, 1188,000. That's the same thing I have.
Mine looks, well, it's in the middle of 10,012. Well, everyone has different defaults. It might be a little bit different, but if you wrote them all the same, it should be fine.
Okay.
Okay, let's just work with what we have. Did anybody else get it? Or are you just watching? It's just like you're more likely to remember if you do it. So I'm going to double click on the chart and all this stuff pops up. So double click, I go here under add chart elements, and what I want, I see these scattered points here. Do I see a pattern? Do you see a pattern? Like, what you want to look for is a line. So there's regression that tries to fit a pattern to the data. There is scatter because there's some variation, but it looks like, does it look like it's just going up? This was a dramatic change, this one. But just with these 5 data points, does it look like it's going up? Yes, it looks like it's trending up, right? From 8,000, 8,700.
And it went down.
Then this one went down and that went up. So it's kind of like blah, blah, blah. So I could do, if I want to, chart elements. I ask for a trend line. I want to see if there's a trend going up. I don't want to join the points. That's not what I'm interested in. I want to see, is there a general trend going up? So I hit linear. So under trend line, linear. The only way you're going to get this is if you touch the graph. Oh, I see now where I put the chart titles. Oh, axis title, vertical, horizontal. There we go. Okay, that's how I can fix that. So this is called patient days. So again, to do anything, you got to touch the chart and then go here, chart elements, add chart elements, and pick trend line, linear. And when I pick that, look what it does. It fits a line to the points, and it shows, demonstrates that, okay, it went up and it went down and whatever, but it's trending up. It's trending positive. I did that with only 5 points. Can I predict? How can I predict the next year? Or how can I predict cost? From this, I can predict cost from patient days using the line. I'm going to go back to the add chart elements, and I'm going to ask for the equation of the line. Trend line. More trend options. More trend options. I'm going to click here where it says display R square and equation. So you must have learned regression at some point in your studies, but this is how we can use it for management. Okay. This is the relationship here between patient days and costs. I want to make this bigger. Is it too small to see that? I'll make a bigger font. I know what else to do. There you go. So what does this mean here? What do we do with this? What does it mean? No one? Yeah, I'm going to do one more thing so we can stare at this a little bit more. I'm going to go, so try and create what I've created and we'll go through it with you. What I want to do is extend my axis. It's not giving me the minimum. That's not what I want. Okay, any questions from you? No questions, no comments? So this is going to help.
Quick question. The formula that you have there, where exactly is that formula coming from? Which part of the line?
It is the line.
It is the line?
It is the line. So this is the line, and we're going to talk about what it means. So, and you were able to get it, Patty? You were able to get it to
No,
post?
I have to watch what you're doing
Okay.
first, because then the screen is
Watch me, and then, okay, so what I did, let me erase. I'll start over. Just watch what I did. And so I highlighted all of this, and then I said insert, chart, scatter. And then I highlight the chart and go here. This pops up, add chart elements, and I want to put the trend line. And I also want more trend options. So I put the trend line and then I do more trend options because I want the equation and the R square. Oh, what will it do if I do that? Oh, interesting. Sorry. What is going to happen? Okay, so there from that option, that's how I got that. And then I changed the font to make it bigger so I could see it. So try that now.
Do you think the fact that my dollar amount has 0.00, that's why my own last point is to the left while yours is to the right?
I'm not sure. You want to show me your thing? Or
I code?
I can let you share. Let me see.
Oh, okay.
Did
No,
you find it?
I can't show you because I'm doing it on the other computer. I
So
can show you
so the
this way.
last
Look
point you
at-
said is not in the
look
middle.
at
It's
it.
a little off. I can't see. It's too
Okay, I could
blurry.
take a picture and send it to you.
Yeah, take a picture and email or text it.
I'll text it.
I mean, did I do anything wrong? Does anybody see any mistakes?
I don't know if I think I may be the one that I don't know.
Take a picture and with your table too, so I can see.
Okay, I'm saying it. Let's have a sec. What's happening? I sent it on WhatsApp.
Oh. No, the sense shouldn't matter. That shouldn't be a problem.
But you see what I'm saying, right?
Oh, you know what it is?
No.
You put 1100, not 11,000. You have to add a zero there on 2018.
Oh, I see that. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
How's everybody doing? We're going to interpret this now. This is very interesting. You have the video, but also try, I don't know how you're going to remember this. So put it in a place that you might remember. Anyway, there's tons of videos on YouTube, how to make a regression line with Excel. At least you know what you're looking for. You want the regression line. And it gives us this is the line here, the equation of a line that we can use to make predictions. So if we want to assume that the line is going to continue, then as long as we put the value X, or in other words, the patient days in there, we can predict the cost. This amount we could call, what should we call this amount? The 28,733. We learned some terminology today. What should we call that? If that's the cost per patient, that should be called patient day. Which word that we learned today would that be?
Average cost?
Not average. It's one of those though. It's going up directly with the number of patient days. It's the variable cost.
Variable cost.
So we figured out the variable cost as some sort of average. So this is like per patient day. So it's the variable cost. And then what is the other thing that we're looking at there? This is $849,000 and $849,325. What would we call that amount?
That's the fixed cost.
Good guess. So this is really nice because it divides things up to give you like an average over the last 5 years of the fixed cost. It's like it's acting like it's telling us overall that's the fixed cost. And then what's changing is per patient day is 28.73 every year, like on average. So it's putting it like that. That's your cost, your total cost. Those are your patient days. And then, so how can we use this to make a prediction? Okay, wait, let's see if you have any questions first. Any questions?
I can't find how to add the trend line.
Okay, so here, when you tap on the graph,
Okay.
and then, oh, my graph went away. Okay, you have to be in insert. Yeah, it disappears. Something's wrong. There, okay, double click on the graph, and then this pops up, add chart elements.
Okay. Okay.
And go to trend line and more trend options. First you put the linear thing, but then the more trend options puts the line there, and you can pick the equations from the more trend options. So we have the equation, that's what the first thing is. It's saying that the Y, or the vertical, so in general, this is X, this is the horizontal, and this one is Y. X is always the horizontal, and Y is the vertical.
Mhm.
And the way we refer to this is, like, this is not the right title, but it should be adjusted cost
Yeah.
by patient days.
Okay.
That's really the title. And then how did I change that again? I don't know why.
So how did you get your y equals equation from the line? I have the line, but I don't know how you got your equation, the equation.
So go to add chart elements, trend line, more trend options. And then you click here and here. That puts them there. You see that?
Okay.
Romy, how are you doing over there? Were you able to produce this?
Can you tell me again how to put the chart? I'm having a hard time with the chart, putting it. 'Cause I don't know. I think my thing is older. It's insert.
Okay, so you highlight
Okay.
the chart, the numbers, highlight your table, and
Patient-
then
I have to
insert,
patient days and adjusted cost.
yeah, with the
And then
titles, and then
insert.
go insert chart, and then scatter, XY scatter.
So I go to recommended charts, or
No,
'cause I don't have that
no, you
menu
go to
yet.
that. Do you have the menu bar on top that says insert?
Insert, yeah.
So on the top, insert, and then go down to chart. I don't know if you guys can see that because it looks like it's cut off of the here. Let me share. I'm gonna share my whole screen.
Oh,
with
it's on
you.
the top menu. Okay.
Yeah,
It's
the
all the way on
top menu, because it's not the same if you go the other way. Go through here.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
top
it's, okay, I see. Oh, okay. Insert
chart,
chart
scatter.
and XY scatter.
Yeah.
Got it. But my graph doesn't look like that. The numbers are totally, yeah, it doesn't look like that. Why do it have series 1, series 2? Okay,
Because
I'm figuring this out.
you didn't highlight, Romy, you didn't highlight the labels, the names, not just the numbers. You have to highlight the whole thing.
Okay, let me do it over. All right, I'll keep working on it.
Okay, so let me ask you a few questions while Romy's working. Let's say I ask you, if there are 12,000 patient days, what do you estimate would be the adjusted cost?
Okay, based on the equation that you have.
Yeah, where this is gonna be your X.
So what we're looking for is Y. Okay.
So this is what we use it for. Patty, how's it going? Do you have the chart?
I
Well-
tried doing it. I'm still trying.
Okay, keep trying. It's important to do it once. Do you want me to watch you? Like I can watch each of you do it. Ouch. Been sitting too long. You want me to repeat it?
So would it be 1194121?
So what I can do is to predict it, I can put the equation here equals 28.733 times with a star. this
1,000, 12,000?
plus, yeah, plus
849,325.
849,325.
That's
I-
1194121.
And I gotta make this dollars because it makes me crazy. It's a lot of money. Now this is in 2018 dollars. But that's what it is in 2018 dollars. Everything we're working with is 2018 dollars. It's very important that we remember that because we have to budget for paying in 2019 dollars in the next year. Rhoda, did you have a question? No. Oh, I thought I heard someone. Was it Barbara? No. Okay. It was just a glitch. Okay, we want to talk about
Professor-
our Romy.
How do I figured it out. I wasn't putting the X and the Y on
You
the
weren't-
top. Yeah, I didn't have the X and Y, so I was getting two different scatters. How do I get that line? What's the next step? I'm
So the
trying to
next
see
step
how to-
is you double click on the chart, and then you see up in the corner it says add chart elements. That's where it comes from.
Okay.
In the left corner, you click down and go to trend line. And that puts the line. And then you go to more trend options to put the equation and the R square.
Do we do the linear?
Linear, yeah. Yeah,
Linear.
ours looks linear.
Okay, got it.
So I'm still struggling on how to get the equation though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. So then you go to more trend line options down here. You click on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see over here, it gives you this, but you want to click on the histogram, this thing here.
The histogram.
Yeah, click on the histogram and then you say display equation and the R square on the chart.
And the R square. Okay. Yay, thank you.
Mhm. Are you guys having fun yet? It's very powerful. We can also, even though I just made up a number, 12,000, we could predict patient days. How can we do that? What do you think? Okay, I'm gonna give a break for everyone to catch up, so we're all on the same page. And then we'll talk about my last question. Now, a line looks like it fits this data. If you have more data and you have a different pattern, there are some options there in Excel. You can pick different patterns, or if it looks very complex, you hire a statistician to help you. But you can do some general trends in the short term, well, 5 years, that are pretty straightforward. Save it. Make sure you save yours.
Worship your name. You know what you love. We worship you.
But what if I wanted to do the same thing with patient days? Before I do the patient days by adjusted cost, what if I estimate, because look, here's the trend. Patient days, it's slowly increasing, which you guys noticed, right? It was a little bit more each year. So why don't we assume that the trend continues, and let's do the same thing for that. Hit the line. I'm going to put the line on it. And then I'm going to get the equation under the histogram. And there we go. Uh-oh, I don't like that equation at all. It's scientific notation. That's not good. Oh.
What's the E standing for? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't like the E. I have to get that. Well, it's scientific notation in Excel, and I think I'm just looking it up. It's minus
Oh,
e to the 6. It means I don't know why they did that. It's like so bad.
give me one. Okay.
I guess it's just 6 zeros on the end. It's 1 million. It looks really weird, but I guess it's minus 1 million. Minus 1 million.
I didn't do that graph though.
Well, it's not helpful. I thought it was going to be helpful, but Excel let me down. So with this graph, so what I did here is just the patient days, and you could estimate what it's going to be in 2019 if you follow the line. So just following the line, is 12,000 a bad idea or a reasonable idea, TY? It's not a bad idea, right? It lines up right here. Do you see that?
I think it would be a little less than 12,000 actually.
Yeah, but you could line it up and go here. That's what I want to try and do. But I got a weird equation with, I don't even think, anyway, let me try it again. Is anybody caught up? Are you guys caught up? Trend line.
I keep doing it on my iPad, and I don't know if it's my preferences or what it has pre-selected, but it will not let me graph on my iPad.
Oh, but you have the same options? Do you have the add chart element?
So do I highlight first or do I just do chart first?
You need to, let me get rid of this. So what you have to do is double click, double tap, and then this shows up here in the corner. You have that option. Add
Let me
chart element.
see. Let me highlight it again.
Double click or double tap.
No,
It doesn't come.
no.
Can I see what you're doing?
Unfortunately, it's my iPad. And I don't know. I'm not on my iPad in class. Like it's
Yeah.
some of my laptop
Can you take a picture of it and send it to me?
Okay, that I can do.
So the equation helps you get any points as long as you have, as long as you have the patient days, you can estimate the total cost using this equation. Now, how good of an equation it is depends on how well it mimics the scatter plot. A singular measure of quality of your fit is this measure called R square. R square is a number between 0 and 100, and you interpret it as a percentage. And the higher, closer it is to 100%, the better the equation. Now you got 60% here. It means 60% of the variation in cost is explained by patient days. It's not great, like it's not amazing, but it's fine, like 60%. It just gives you an idea of how reliable your estimate is. Or how, yeah. So it's a measure of how close they fit to the line. So that's why you have to report both of them. So anybody reading a report would say, okay, I see the relationship. How good of an estimate is that? And the R-square tells them. And you can debate about it. Okay, did you send it to me, Patty?
I did. Sorry, I was muted. I could go to insert and the chart comes up and then I hit scatter, but it only shows me the year 2018.
Weird. How'd you send it? WhatsApp or?
Oh no, I just sent in a message in the
Oh, okay. I'm
Zoom.
sorry. I
Yeah.
was looking at my.
Mhm.
You have enough zeros on the third one on 2018?
I do.
You have 3 zeros there? Yeah, it looks like
It
it's
is 3
covered.
zeros.
So then you highlight and then, okay, so hit insert. And what does it say?
I hit insert and then it gives me chart and I hit scatter
Uh-huh.
and then I select the first one, which is only the dots. And
Okay.
then it just only goes to 2018.
Let me do it on I have my iPad connected, so let me see. Let's see. Everyone else is quiet. Lydia, how's it going?
Maybe I should just do it on my laptop.
Yeah, try on your
I'm just
laptop.
following.
You're okay, Lydia?
I'm just following.
All
Sorry.
right.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna get my Excel. Oh, I gotta mute myself. Know what's going on here. So all right, so if I highlight all of this and then insert charts, scatter, and I get that. I wrote this one wrong.
Let's see how to highlight. Let me see how you highlight it.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna put, what did I miss here? 1, 1. One, I missed a one. Okay, it fixed it. There you go. So what did I do? I just highlighted, doesn't go away. Okay. So I went like this and I highlighted. And then up here, insert, charts, scatter, the dots.
Do I
like you
leave-
said.
Do I leave out the just highlight from 800, correct?
No, put the titles in, put the titles in. I just didn't waste time putting it, but yeah, highlight the titles too.
Highlight,
Yeah, otherwise it's gonna.
and then I went insert and then scatter.
Mm-hmm.
It still does it. I don't know what it is.
It does what?
It still does the it still gives me like half a graph. I have exactly what you have there. Then I hit insert, it's highlighted. I hit insert, I hit scatter, I hit the dots, and it still gives me that.
Can you send me a picture of what it gives you?
The same thing I sent you.
Oh, but the thing that you sent me, oh, let me see, because I just saw
Oh,
one.
oh, what it does is that it only hides. So you see how one side is blue and one side is green?
Uh-huh.
Every time I do this, only the 1100 is green, and then everything else, the adjustable cost is green, except the 1100 is blue.
Hmm.
So everything goes away. All those 8,000 to 9,000 goes away. 1100 is green, and then all the numbers to the right is green, and then the last one at the bottom is blue. And I cannot adjust it.
Very strange. Hey, yeah, just use your computer. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll just go back to my computer. Thank you.
And how is this like a new iPad? Have you used it for Excel before?
I did. I used yeah, that's what I usually do. I usually just break two, but today I was using the iPad, but I mean the computer I didn't see, so I just switched to iPad, but I don't know. I'll try it with the computer and see if I get the same thing.
You have Excel on the computer, right? It's disappointing. It's anticlimactic if you don't get what we're looking for. All right, let's see where I was here. All right, so did everybody get the chart or the graph? Patty wants to still finish hers. Romy, did you get it in the end?
Yes, I actually got it. How do you get that equation right in the chart though?
So you double click on it and then you go to this thing here. Oh wait, I have to, am I showing my Excel? Sorry, let me get it back. Right, so you double click on it. And then it comes here, add chart elements. And you go to trend line and more trend line options.
And then chart, trend line. Okay.
More trend line options.
Mm-hmm.
And then you click on the histogram over here, the one with the bar chart. And then go to the very bottom and say display equation and display R square.
Display R squared value on chart.
Yeah. And display equation.
I see. Got it.
And then I made it bigger because it was really super small. So
Yeah, I'm making it big right now. Okay.
all right. Rhoda, did you get it?
Well, I'm using numbers on the iPad, so it's different from Excel. So I don't know how to generate a chart, but I have the table.
I did it on that. I was doing it with, I just did it with, Patty. So you highlight them and then insert chart scatter.
Okay, I'll send you a screenshot of it.
Here, Rhoda, look. So I just highlight. I highlight this. I didn't put headings. I didn't put labels on it. So you highlight and then you hit insert. And then it shows charts. So you pick charts and you choose scatter. And then you choose the one with the dots. And then you double click. Let's see how I can get the rest of it. Double click, right click. Types. Scatter. No, that didn't work. Blended. Others. It's got to be here somewhere. Chart. Elements. Look, trend line. Linear. There we got that. And then elements. I need more trend line options. Linear forecast. Interesting. I just don't know how to get the equation. You must be able to get the equation by tapping the line. Okay, what's most important, yeah, you guys could do this if your life depended on it. You could figure out how to get this chart. You can follow an example in YouTube, get this
Can I
chart.
Can I share my screen now that I set it up to see to show
Yes.
you what happens? Okay.
Sure. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Can we see it? Oh, hold on, share. So when I highlight,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Insert. Mine is just right here, scatter.
Wait, your last column is missing a 0.
Yeah, her 0 goes away. We don't know why, but
Oh.
it was there, but it goes away.
Let's add it again. 0, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Highlight.
Mm-hmm.
My scatter's here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got it now. It's correct.
You got it. And now go to add chart elements right away to the left, upper left corner, Patty.
Mm-hmm.
Go there, go down, click the arrow. No, go back up, add chart element.
Add chart elements.
1 second, TY. Let the professor help me real quick.
Oh,
Okay.
add chart elements. Let the arrow down. Go back to that, add chart elements. Yeah, there.
Hold on.
Click it.
Hold on. It keeps. Uh-huh.
Click on that. No, click on it. Where are you going? double click on it. I don't know. It came double click. This is your computer or your
My laptop. Now I went to my laptop.
touch the arrow, the down arrow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So weird. Okay, go to the chart and double click the chart.
Mm-hmm.
Now go to chart elements. Wow, you're like very unfortunate right now. These things that are happening. I don't know why it's doing that. Why is it doing that? Okay, maybe because I'm not sure, but I made my chart using the insert buttons at the top, not the ones inside, you know, at the very top menu.
Okay, so let's go to
Because
insert.
Romy had that trouble before. No, on top of that, above. You have a menu above.
Bar on top.
Mm-hmm.
Use that. No,
Which one? Which bar?
it's on
Insert.
top of all of that. No, it's up like
Here.
No.
top. Yeah, insert. Yeah, insert chart. You don't have an insert? Yeah, chart. Yeah, there.
Mhm.
X, Y, scatter.
Okay.
And
Mhm.
then it probably covered the other one. Move that away because the other one's underneath it, I think. Oh no.
No.
Okay, so it's gone. Okay, so now double click that
Mhm.
and then go to add chart elements and try and get it to drop down.
That's my drop down.
What is
Or
going
maybe.
on?
Yeah, that's my drop down.
I don't see anything.
So I'll go to insert up top again. Chart.
XY scatter.
XY scatter.
Okay, and then double clicking on the chart
Mhm.
and then add chart elements. Try not to, I don't know if it matters, but double click on the chart
Mhm.
and then go to chart elements. Wow, it's not going down.
Mm-mm.
That's weird.
But I would say
Oh,
this,
maybe
Patty, if I
if I
was you.
do it, if I do it to say maybe when it's highlighted, does that make a difference? No.
I've never
You-
had this problem that you have, Patty. Either
Yeah.
problem. It's very weird.
It's okay.
Let me okay. Just check. Let me check on the internet to see if there's a solution for that. Usually I just go and check. So add chart elements.
Maybe if I minimize everybody.
Excel does not drop down.
But save it till now, Patty, because it is right till this point. It's just a problem.
So I found something that says add element is not working. Is there a figure? Is there a figure out why I cannot click add chart elements? I have made a scatter.
Mhm.
Oh, maybe your worksheet is broken. Try to save it, open it again.
Okay.
Send a screenshot. Same problem. I've tried several workbooks, restarted my laptop without success. When I create a scatter plot, the add chart elements button appears, but when I click it, no drop-down menu appears. Any thoughts?
There's a drop down menu that I can see. I don't know, maybe you can't see it, but
Oh,
I
I
see
can't
it.
see it. Oh, you see it? Then if you see it, I don't see it.
Yeah, I do see, because then it says
Oh.
you want me to trend the line. I
Trend
can
the
trend the line.
line. Yeah, I can't see
Okay.
anything. Okay.
So I'm sorry, I didn't know that's what you're looking for. So I go to which one now?
Linear.
Uh-huh. There you go.
And then go back to add chart elements. Go back
Mm-hmm.
and go to more trend options. Okay, go down. More trend options.
Mm-hmm.
And then from here, click on the histogram up on the top beside the paint,
Okay.
not the polygon thing, but the next one.
Mm-hmm.
The next one, click there, and then go down to the bottom and it says display equation on the chart.
Yay.
Yeah, and display it. Now you can't forget, you're not allowed to forget, Patty. And display R square.
It's there.
Yeah, and display R square as well.
for
Oh,
last time.
both. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, everyone's happy. Okay, so you're gonna help each other remember how to do that. All right, so now make a prediction. Predict if patient days is 12,000 next year, how much will be the adjustable cost? Use the equation to make your estimate. So I did it here. How did I do it? I use the equation where patient days is the X and Y is the cost. So I make an equation with an equal sign. Remember, we learned how to do that. So you have an average variable cost, 28.733. And a fixed cost, the 849,000 is going to be our fixed cost. It's estimated by this equation.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Now, because it's dollars and cents, you can leave it as 73 cents as well. This is because it is dollars and cents. So I could actually just make that a 3. I'll just leave it with the equation as it is anyway. Any questions about that? And the R square means 59% of the variation in adjusted cost is explained by patient days. I kind of want to do one more thing before we leave today. Do we have time? So it's important to report the R square so that people looking at it can say, can defend your estimate or refute your estimate, because they can say, well, it's not a strong estimate because it's not close to 100%, but other people can say, oh, it's pretty good for the kind of data we see. Depends on experience. Okay, so you should have made up an estimate making the equation 28.733 times B12, sorry, B15, just whatever, 12,000, and then add the rest. If you want to put it in really dollars and cents and you want to round this to 73, you could do that too. It doesn't have to be 733. But I'm using exactly the equation as is. Okay, so that way you can estimate, you have estimated now for 2019, but in 2018 dollars, how we convert it to 2019 dollars. How could we do that? Any ideas?
What'd you say? You said how to convert. How do you convert what?
Okay, so this is in 2018 dollars, but next year is 2019.
Oh.
How do I adjust it for inflation? What should I do? Should I just assume?
The time or future value of money, or I don't know.
Well, no, we're talking about inflation. So if we assume it's gonna be 1% or 2% inflation, we can adjust that, right?
Yes.
So maybe one thing you can do, so if I put those inflation, because I don't have future indices, right? So you can assume, well, in our reality, you have to go to look at those medical indices to get an idea. But let's say you assume, and this is what you can do in your projections, right? Assume 2%. Well, inflation is so high right now. So just assume 4% inflation next year or in 2000.
Funny. I remember the
4%.
equation in Excel where it's like R equal, equal R something, parentheses, then I put the location of the, and then I could predict the percentage, or I don't have to. Like, I don't have to put the percentage and it'll give me a value. Oh my God.
Well, did you get that value that I put there?
You said 4%.
No,
Is it
sorry.
59%? 59%, no?
No, sorry, that's the R square. She's talking about the R square. So Patty, the R square is interpreted as a percentage, and it's a measure of how good this fits. And so the best is 100% when everything falls in the line. And when it's kind of off and scattered around, it's lower, but people can argue that this is good or this is bad. 60% is pretty good.
So would you do the IRR formula?
No, that doesn't fall here. No, this is all about the line and the fit. So R square is a measure of fit. She's asking me about the R square. R square measures the quality of the estimation or fit to the line. So your estimate is only as good as the fit is. So for instance, okay, so I'll do a little bit to show you what I mean, some examples.
Would you be able to add this into the
Yeah, I'll put it
the
there.
work? Okay.
Yeah. I'll
Okay,
put it
thank
up
you.
with the notes and the questions and things. Let me just take a moment to talk about R square.
Is this your screen or Paddy's screen?
You don't see the screen?
Oh, it's your screen. Okay.
That's my screen, yeah.
That's her screen.
So
Oh. So in trying to calculate and consider the inflation, will that be deduct the 4% from the value, and that's
hold on. Just I'll do that in a second. I'll do it in a second. So here's a bunch of scatter, and here's, let's say, the line. So the line comes out of the computer. It figures out how to put the line in a way that it's closest to all the points. Okay, that's what the computer is doing. So that line is going to estimate those points. Now that's kind of like what we did if we had more points. They're all over the place, or more observations. This is X, this is Y. So this R square was like 60%. So what would be an example of an R square that's like really close? 0. What about an R square of 10%? What would it look like? Like just all scattered around.
all scattered because it's
Yeah.
not close to the line.
Yeah. All kind of scattered and flat. Okay, it's very low. And then a really good one, what would be 100% R?
Would it be totally on the line?
Totally on the line, exactly. You basically have
Mm,
they actually make a line in this case. Okay. I don't want to draw it because I might fall off the line, but that's R square 1. So that's the idea.
Mm.
Now the R can go down as well. Cost can fall. It's another thing to do. Because we're squaring R, it still stays positive. The other measure where R comes from is actually, R square actually comes from R. Like the not squared part. So if R square is 1, what is R? Like you have to take the square root of that. What would you get?
1,
Exactly.
1.
What if the data looks like, okay, so what about this one? What's the R if R square is 10? What do you have to do? Take the square root.
3 point something.
Did you do it already?
I didn't do it, I just guessed.
Yeah, because it's 3 square is 9. Very good.
Yeah.
Maybe point. Yeah. Point 3. So it's like 30. Something like that. And okay, so just the last thing I want to do is if it's going down, because costs can also decline. For this, R would be like negative 0.4. But it would be negative. But R square, because it gets rid of the negative, what would R square be?
The negative 0.4, it will be 1.6.
Not 1, but 0.16.
Oh, sorry, 0.16.
Okay, so R square, it shows the same thing about the strength of the relationship, but the R by itself actually tells you the direction of the relationship. It tells you it's decreasing. Here it tells you it's increasing. I can put this in on the platform too. So 0.6 R squared gives you an R, which is a measure of direction and strength of 0.77. Now, I don't have time to go into all statistics. I teach statistics. I don't want to spend too much time, but just that you know those basic patterns and we know how to interpret using the line and make predictions. And let's go back and do our 4%. We want to adjust for inflation, right? Let's adjust for inflation. Rhoda sent me something. Did you figure it out, Rhoda?
I think it's just because I'm using numbers, not Excel. So like I'm pretty sure maybe it has similar functions, but I just can't figure it out. But I just
To get the line? Well, just look on the internet.
yeah, how to
get the
use
line, the equation of the line and the R square from the iPad. It's there. I don't know where it is though.
yeah, same because I usually do this on our computer. So
Okay, but you'll be able to find it. All right, so I'm going to go back to my Excel spreadsheet. You guys can. Any questions about my scatter plots? Oh, okay, so back to my Excel spreadsheet, and we're going to do the estimate. So, assuming 4%. So I'm gonna. What am I going to do? I'm going to move this up. No, I'm going to move this whole thing up. And then I'm going to take this away. And take this up. And I'm going to call this adjusted cost 2019. Estimate. Make this a little bit bigger. You guys are shadowing me to learn how to use Excel. There's so many features. Okay, so all I have to do is I make an equal sign. I take this calculation and I multiply it by what? You should have an intuition for what I multiply.
By R,
No.
can you share your screen?
Oh, you can't see it? Thought I was. Thought you were watching me. All right, so I moved the chart up. I made a title here, adjusted cost estimates 2019. I assume 4% inflation. So what should I multiply this or C15 by? It's going to grow at 4%. How do I show growth? I have to use an accumulation factor. What's the accumulation factor?
Oh, God.
Remember accumulation factor. You're not allowed to forget anything. It's going to accumulate at 4% for one period. So I multiply by 1.04. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Does that sound familiar? It should all
Yeah.
feel familiar. So then I'm going to put the formula there so you can see it. Actually, wait. I got to copy the equation. All right. So we have enough money, we budget for enough money because we actually have to pay in cash, right? To actually pay that amount. Or we assume we're going to pay with 4% inflation. Okay, was this a lot? No, so I'm gonna stop here. I'll put all this stuff up. I'll put it with some questions. You can better read, I think, chapter 8 now. I need to finish break-even analysis. If you guys can read ahead, I will start there next week.
There's no class next week. That's just what I was about
Oh no, there's no class next week.
to say. No.
Okay, so well, that's okay because all I'm going to finish is chapter 8 and 9 at this rate. So not next week, the following week, but I also want time to talk about your projects. Make sure maybe we can meet on Tuesday night or something. Do you want to meet on Tuesday night? Or no, you guys are on holidays. Whatever you guys want. If you guys are good with your projects, if you're worried, let me know. We can meet. But
Yeah, I cannot meet Tuesday night at all. I'll be on a flight.
okay. So read chapter 8, try the problems and look at break-even analysis. You'll need that. I really wanted to do it tonight, but I don't know. Do you guys want me to do it a bit or do you want to go? Are you burnt?
It needs to be done in 20 minutes maximum.
Probably.
Depends on everybody.
Do you guys want me to talk about it for 10 minutes? Or you want to just go and read it on your own? So the idea of the break even is trying to find where the number of units so that like it's kind of like where we did the NPV equals 0. That's sort of that's what we're doing. Something like that, where we're setting it to find where we don't incur costs or we don't make a profit. And I'm going to use it in a very specific case. Are you guys are still working at that? Let me see. So we talked about regression. Okay, you want to see break even for 10 minutes or no? Yeah, I'm gonna leave it. You guys are not enthusiastic. So I'm gonna leave it, and that's where I'll start in 2 weeks. And then I'll do chapter 9. And then we'll be done. So if the other ladies who came later didn't hear, I'm going to the third, what was supposed to be the third computational assignment and the third journal reflection are not required. If you want to do it to replace one that you didn't do, you can send it in. I'll have to make an assignment then for people who want to do an assignment. It will include break even. It'll include a little bit of chapter 8 and 9.
Professor,
Mm-hmm.
have you graded any of the paper, any of the assignments that we've done?
Yes, I need to post those. I don't exactly know how to post them, and I need to figure that out. I don't know how to post them in the platform. But you guys did fine. You guys did great.
So then the third journal
optional-
reflection.
Yeah,
They're
you don't
optional
have to
to
do
post?
it. Yeah, if you submitted it, you guys. Well, anyway, I should give you the grade so you can decide if you need to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't do that tonight, but I can do that Friday night. I can do that on Friday night.
Okay. Or could you just like private message us our
I
our
think that
grade?
because you're only 6, I think that's easier than me figuring out how to put them on Blackboard.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
for our next meeting in 2 weeks, if we don't meet next week, we just have to finish chapter 8. You're going to be presenting we're going to be doing chapter
8 and
9.
9.
in 2
Chapter 8
weeks?
and 9. Yeah, cost management.
So
And then I have to talk about, and then we have to work on, I told the other ladies that we're going to work on your project together. The one where you're supposed to give me a prediction year in your financial statements. So we'll talk about that
In 2
in
weeks.
2 weeks. That's a long time, man.
do we still have to do the presentation, the
Yes,
salary?
you have to do the presentation. Yes, of course.
Okay.
The presentation is on the, let me see what I got here.
I think on the 6th or the 13th. No, on the 6th or the 13th.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
we're going to meet
remember.
on the 29th and then the presentations are on the 6th. Yes, you have to make those presentations.
Okay.
And on the 29th, we'll talk about the other assignment. I'm going to have to send that assignment out before then. I'll probably have to give that to you on the weekend too. So you
Okay.
can get going on the assignment.
Alrighty.
Okay, so chapter 8 and 9 will be the end of it, and I'll post everything you need for that to work at that.
Okay.
Okay, good night.
Everyone have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Happy
Enjoy,
Thanksgiving,
everyone.
Thank you, Professor.
Bye.
Thank you for
Bye.
traveling. Be
Bye,
safe.
everyone.
Bye.
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 Good night.